I'm gonna do it. In fact, it's been done. As a matter of fact, there's nothing up to do. Welcome back to the shop, everyone. It is a pleasure to have you here, and I am super excited to show you how to convert a 3-channel model to a 4-channel model. It's not as hard as you think. It's not any big mystery of the universe. We're going to keep it simple. All right, so usually 3-channel models are like sports scale models, and so they typically don't have very many complex parts. And so to that end, kept it simple. We're not terribly worried about crazy aerodynamic stuff because, again, these models generally don't fly very fast. I've got my top flight Elder here, so let me go through some of the things that I've had to do to make this more 3-channel friendly. It's really quite simple. First, I'll apologize for my voice. I am getting over a cold. So moving on, the model has been pretty much just cleaned up for the most part. All right. I did have to switch out my receiver because the receiver that I had before was only, well, it's a 16-channel receiver, but it's on S-Bus. So all the channels are on S-Bus, so then you have to have an S-Bus to PWM converter. There were only 3 available channels on the receiver itself, so I had to move to something that had more, because 4, need 4. So after moving over to a new receiver and making sure it was bound properly with my proper failsafe, we move on to the tail. Now, what's so special about the tail? Well, the tail is not reflective of the nose. The nose is very short, and I use a 5800 3-cell in the nose to get the CG right because I need all the weight. That means this really long tail and this tail skid does not want to turn. Even on a non-windy day and trying to blip with the amount of rudder that I have back here, I could not get this tail to pop up and really maneuver well. So I put on a tail wheel. Now, I could have gone with the standard Dubro tail wheel, and I just didn't have one. But it's not to say I couldn't have gotten one, but I had a whole bag full of old spare part ones, and I just happened to have exactly what I needed. So I cut some threads that were wrapped around. You can see some residue here where there were threads wrapped around for the leading part of the tail skid, and then you can still see threads here on the tail that I just left. It was pretty simple to just cut through those, just soaked with some epoxy, nothing too terribly fancy. But yeah, I took this piece of plastic mount and I cut this little notch in it and screwed it in. Used a couple of screws, ones that would fit, just to make sure things were nice and secure, and had to bend this back. And this is just going straight off the rudder control, right? I bent this piece of brass around to just secure the pin. And then what did I shove in there? Yeah, come on, focus. Toothpicks. I used toothpicks, just jammed them in there to center things up and soaked it with some CA, and we're good to go. So that is tail wheel, no servo required. Just a very simple mechanical addition, and it works off the rudder servo, so easy peasy. Now, like I said, you can use the Dubro off-the-shelf option. It will work very well. It's very versatile and will pretty much adapt to any model that's out there. Highly recommend it. It's very simple to use. So moving on, let's talk about the actual channel that I'm adding to the model. The reason I didn't use the same color is because they don't make it. I don't have it. And it's monocoat. So if you go to like other brands, you will have color discrepancies. I mean, this is an old model. You'll likely be off a little bit anyway, but it would be even worse. And then, I could, if I find something at like a swap meet or something, and it's like, okay, well, I finally found the right color, I can easily go back, hit this with a heat gun, take it off, and then put the right color on. If I find it, it's not a big deal. And to me, honestly, for what I'm flying, it's okay. I'm fine with it. I had some white. It was easy. It was actually scrap left over from another project that was sitting on the bench. It worked. So moving on, let's talk about these ailerons. Now the ailerons are just balsa. Okay, this is 1/8 inch balsa, and I could have used bass, but I didn't have any, and bass was much harder to cut. So yeah, I just used balsa. I covered it in some Econo coat that I had stashed away. It's very simply covered. I mean, just covering iron stuff. It's not a big mystery there. But I used CA hinges. I used this CA hinge material here because I had it on hand. I had a whole bunch of extra, and it makes quick work of it because you just cut a slot with your razor and you stick the hinge in there and you hit it with some thin CA. All right, not rocket science. Now, you will note that the control linkage is connected here and not like the middle, and I've only got the one servo. I am aware that these ailerons will warp. Let's talk about that and why it's okay. All right, so the ailerons, we're not dealing with tremendous amounts of speed. And with this particular model, when the aileron deflects, the amount of warpage, if you will, is pretty minimal. We're talking about like maximum 3 millimeters static. Yes, that will be a little bit more under load in the air, but not by much because, again, not a fast model. Makes sense, right? So I'm really not terribly concerned because also the prop blast is going to be going right over where I'm getting the maximum deflection. Again, not a huge deal. All right. So we're also not talking about a high precision aerobatic model, right? We're talking about something that's just going to sort of flop through the air and wallow around and do some silly things. And it's just a relaxing Sunday flyer. Okay. We're not going for precision aerobatics. We're not. We're not even getting it in the carts. This is a Hershey bar wing. You're not going to have any weird, outward flow. You're going to have a little bit because that's the nature of air, right? And the way that aerodynamics work. But it's not to a point where this model will be uncontrollable. Okay, if it were uncontrollable, we wouldn't have had this as a 3-channel in the first place. We are adding this, and we are adding it simply. I'm not making a cutout here in the wing and doing embedded servos because you've got these cross braces. Okay, that would complicate things a lot. Simple. We want things as simple as possible, right? And to keep things simple, you have to make compromises, all right? And the reality is that this model is full of compromises. It's not a true scale model. You have to tell yourself that sometimes. At least I do, because I'm a scale modeler, right? But we're not after pure scale. We're after some fun here. So yeah, that's really all there is to it. And I don't want to beat around the bush that I haven't been able to fly this yet. You can see up in the window, it's a sunny day today. It's not supposed to be much wind, but I'm trying to get this video out. So depending on the timing of things, I may be able to get you guys some flight footage. I'll put that in here. I can recharge my battery. All right, let me get you a few flybys here.
Just trying to look and see how long you'd been up in the air. I was like, where's the clock? Oh wait, it's not on video.
Almost 10 minutes.
Wow. I was getting ready to ask, what, you got a die hard in that thing?
I have an almost 6,000 milliamp hour 3-cell.
Wow. No wonder it's got no vertical.
I know, but it needs the nose.
You got a 10-pound battery in there.
Yeah.
You should just strap another person on top of the wing, laying out.
Do like a wing walker or whatever?
Exactly. It's a perfect plane for that. That'll give you the wing. Of course, there's nothing wrong with 15-minute flight.
No, not at all. At this point, I think I'm getting as long a flight as the 2-stroke blow engine that was in this before.
You dress up the batteries to look like a belly tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
Then when you start getting low, you can drop one.
go. Ooh, somebody's flying a radial.
He's plenty high.
Yeah.
He's probably at 2,500 feet or better.
Yeah, he's been going over the right side of the field. He's cool. All right, landing. Let's see how many times I can do it in one shot. Wow.
Well,
Look at that. You can even turn it.
it did it when it
It's
counted.
crazy. But that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by the shop. And again, if you need more hardware, stop by dubro.com. Use code JOSH10 for 10% off of your order and get the hardware that you need. Get the secure hardware that's not going to wear out or break or bend in weird ways that you didn't expect. It's going to corrode like weird. I mean, Dubro makes quality stuff. Most of it's in the United States, and good people make it. That's all I can say. And until next time, guys, continue working on your flying works of art.